Hey, what's up, everyone? PCJ here. Wanted to share with you two reviews, actually. I have Netflix. I watch Netflix a lot, and they just recently came out with, well, let's go back. A couple years ago, right? It's been about a year and a half, 2 years. They came out with the Toys That Made Us series on Netflix. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. It originally started as a 4 episode series. That's the only bad thing about that show is that they do 4 episodes per season. They've done 3 seasons now, but they started off with like Masters of the Universe, Star Wars, Barbie, and something else. I'm forgetting the fourth one. But they came out with GI Joe. Wait, GI Joe, He Man, Star Wars, and Barbie. There you go. Those are the first 4, and then they did a second season, a third season. Well, now they've done the movies that made us as a show, and they released 4 episodes. And I think it dropped right after Thanksgiving, before Christmas. I think, if I'm getting my time right, it's a another 4 episode series, and obviously they're going to do more of them because they've been getting nothing but great feedback. And they're just short, like 40 minute to an hour long at the most, mini documentaries on movies that made us, like, iconic movies that have really amazing backstories. I love learning about all the things about movies. I used to buy DVDs all the time just because they would have the making of features, which sometimes they were a little short, like 12-minute, 14-minute long ones that would only be the same thing they would air on like HBO in between movies. They'd show you a little behind the scene making of moments in between showing movies on HBO or something. But then I would watch something like Star Wars, and they would have a 2.5 hour documentary on the making of an entire episode or the whole trilogy or something. And I just love behind the scenes stuff like that. I like learning about things that you didn't know during the making of. Maybe it's a special release that comes out years later, and they finally say, you know what, we didn't tell the people this originally, but here's some true stories about what happened during the filming, but we kind of held off on telling the truth. And I always like learning that, those little facts and tidbits. Well, the movies that made us, they definitely made sure to share with us things about specific movies. Now, the movies they did the first season of was Home Alone, Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, and Ghostbusters, and that's what brings us here today. I picked up 4 Titans vinyl figures, and these are the Ghostbusters 2 I Ain't Afraid of No Ghosts series. My wife and I, we started watching, I think we watched Home Alone first. That was the first episode. And then I think we did Ghostbusters next, and then we went ahead and just knocked out Dirty Dancing and Die Hard. We got hooked on watching these. I enjoy movies. I've watched movies all my life, of course. And between the two of us, my wife and I, she likes movies as well. She likes them. But if she had to choose between reading a good book and watching a movie, she may choose a good book. So it's a good balance because she'll let me know what kind of books are good. I let her know what kind of movies are good. And it worked out really great whenever we met because I had already seen an insane amount of movies, and then when I introduced her to all these movies that she had never seen or even maybe heard of, I get to experience it through her eyes for the first time again. And it's always a thrill whenever I introduce her to a movie I grew up watching that meant something to me, and I share it with her, and I get to hear her reaction for the first time because I've seen so many movies so many times over and over. But I got a thrill out of watching her reaction to learning about things about the movies, that some things I already knew about because, again, I watch all kinds of documentaries and behind the scenes stuff. But I loved how I got to see her reaction to some of the little behind the scenes stuff that they tell us in the movies that made us. So therefore, I got so excited about that. When I saw these, I had to pick some up. So I have 4 blind boxes of I Ain't Afraid of No Ghosts series. Ghostbuster 2, obviously. There you go. Ghostbusters 2. Hashtag We Love Titans. And yes, I have said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Titans, but I love Ghostbusters. And yes, they just recently came out with Funko Mystery Mini versions of Ghostbuster figures, and they're just Ghostbusters. They're not 1 or 2 specific. I think they're mainly just on the first movie, because I don't think there's like a Vigo or anything like that character in the series. But maybe they'll have a series 2 come out soon, because that one seems to be very popular, and I'm hoping I can get more of those. I only have like 2, I think, in my collection. But I came across these wanted to check them out, and we're gonna open them up and see who we have. So here's all the characters in the series. So you have Vigo, Janos, you have Nunzio, you have one of the Scoleri brothers, you have Tully, Janine, Dana, and then you have a Venkman mystery one there, Chase one, and a Spangler. And then on the other side here, we've got Slimer, which I do have Slimer. Then there's Spangler, Venkman again, Winston, you have Ray, Ecto-1. I would love to get that one. And then there's a Janos and Vigo. So there's 4 mystery figures, or chase ones in this series, that we could come across. We'll see if we get lucky and find any of those. So let's go and open them up. Let's see what we have. So if you have checked out that series, the movies that made us, let me know in the comments what you think of the shows. Do you like them? Do you think they did a pretty good job? Do you want to see more of them? Especially share with me in the comments what movies would you want them to see, or what movies do you want to see them do in future seasons? I have a few, but I'll name them at the end after we unbox all these. But share with me in the comments. Let me know what movies do you think should be a season. Like, give me 4 movies if you can, or just 1, but give me 4 if you can, and say this is the perfect 4 for the next season. We got Ray Stantz with his proton pack. Awesome. Of course, played by the great, amazing, talented Dan Aykroyd. How rare is this one? Let's see. Where's Ray on here? Stantz is a 2 out of 20. Okay. Let's go to the next one. And this one is... Oh, I think it's Venkman. It is Peter Venkman. But this is not him in his Ghostbuster attire. Is this what he's wearing in his psychic show that he has on like public access? It seems like whenever the Ghostbusters are out of work at the beginning of the movie. Is this the chase one? Let's see. Let's see. There's a Venkman here, but that's where his Ghostbuster outfit is. I'm guessing that is the one, because there's no other Venkmans on here, so I'm assuming 1 out of 40 Peter Venkman is this one here. So that's got to be one of the mystery ones. So, okay, excellent. We got a 1 out of 40. Let's go to the next one here. All right. And open it up. It feels like a larger one. It might be Slimer. Might be... Okay, I just felt the proton pack. We have Spangler. Excellent. We got 2 Ghostbuster... Well, we got 3 Ghostbusters, but we got 2 in the Ghostbuster outfits with the proton packs. Beautiful. Okay. Well, let's go on to the last one. I really want that Ecto-1, but I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see. Alright. No, this does not feel like a car. So, yeah, it's got to be somebody else. So, our last one is... it's a proton pack. It's Winston! Wow, that's pretty awesome. We got all 4 Ghostbusters. We just did not get the Peter Venkman version of him with the proton pack. How awesome is that? But there we have, okay, Ernie Hudson, of course, portrayed that character. So all of these are 2 out of 20, so there you go. So yeah, the Spangler, the Stantz, and Winston Zedmore, all 2 out of 20. And then on the back here is the Venkman 1 out of 40, where he's wearing... I want to say either that or it's the outfit he's wearing when he goes on the date with Dana, but I think he's just wearing a tux or something, or a suit, yeah. Okay, beautiful, love it. I love Ghostbusters, grew up watching it. I love both Ghostbuster movies. I said both because there's only 2 that truly exist. We do have a new one coming out next year. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it will be good. It's supposed to be, way better than that other thing that came out a couple of years ago that we're going to forget about ever happened. But I'm very excited about these figures. Like I said again, I'm not the biggest fan of Titans, but I do like Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters, so I'm happy to get these figures. So, before we wrap it up, so I said about the reason I got these figures was my wife and I checked out the Movies That Made Us documentary series on Netflix, and they did 4 episodes. One was on Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, and it got me in the mood when I saw these figures. I had to pick them up. because I wanted to talk more Ghostbusters. So, what movies do I think they should do a future season of the movies that made us for another season? Hopefully, they do a few seasons because there's tons of movies that I would like to choose from. But I'm gonna pick 4 right now off the top of my head that I would like them to do a season of on Netflix. So, Netflix people, I know you're watching. Why wouldn't you? So I know you're watching. Please take a moment, get pen and paper out, and you can write down the 4 movies that we would like to personally request for episodes of movies that made us. So first off, Tombstone. Great classic Western, one of my favorites of all time. Would love to see a condensed documentary on that. I own a box set of the DVD set from years ago I bought when I worked at the video store. Has a lot of behind the scenes stuff and very interesting things that happened during the making of that movie. So there's a lot to work with there. Another movie I would like to see would be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It spawned a sequel, it spawned a animated series, and we now have a 3rd installment on its way of Bill and Ted Face the Music. I believe that's the title they're going with right now. I want to see a episode based on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. There's a lot to talk about with that one. Another one I'd like to see would be one of the greatest movies of all time, The Princess Bride. That is something that everyone needs to watch. You can quote that movie over and over. It's funny, adventurous, exciting, a little scary at times, romance. I mean, everything. It's got it all. It's one of the greatest. And lastly, because they really stuck with the 80s, it seemed, and maybe that's where they want to stick with, because a lot of the Toys That Made Us episodes were kind of in the 80s era. So I would like to see, for an 80s movie, I could easily go with something John Hughes, such as Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, etc. That's a very easy one to, area to go to when you talk about teen movies of the 80s. But one I think that is very memorable, but it doesn't get remembered as much as those, is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That one was a very controversial film in a lot of ways. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great movie. If you haven't watched it in forever and you kind of forgot about it, watch it again and you'll remember, times were different and there was a lot of subject matter in there that could be, considered controversial for its time. So definitely another one I would like to see them do a episode on. So there you go. Those are my 4 pick for a full season of the movies that made us. Hopefully Netflix was watching and they'll take notes, and we'll see that season next year, right? Okay. Well, everyone, thanks as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed unwrapping and talking about the toys that made us, movies that made us, and then checking out the blind boxes we unboxed today for the Ghostbusters 2 I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost by Titans. And I appreciate you, as always, for tuning in. Make sure, please, if you haven't done so yet, please give me a thumbs up. Please click on that little subscribe button if you haven't done so yet as well. Remember, as always, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My links are below in the description of every video, along with my P.O. Box if you'd like to send me anything to feature on a future video. Alright, everybody, this is the one and only Culture Junkie saying, stuff happens, someone's got to deal with it, and who you going to call? Haha, I'm signing out, guys. See ya.